Is it Friday evening already? It's gonna be a great weekend. Good seeing you guys all back here again. So we're going to do a really light body weight workout tonight. What that means is you don't have to have any equipment to do this. I'm going to take you through a couple progressions so you can make this as easy or as hard as you want to. I will show you a couple pieces of equipment that you can bring into this. That way you can kind of make this progress a little bit to fit whatever your needs are. And with that, just expect for the next 45 minutes that we're going to be doing this workout here. If you have a foam roller, we're going to go through, it's one part that you are going to need some equipment, so we'll go through a really quick foam rolling warm-up and we'll get started. So make sure you have some water, we'll take some breaks, and if you get tired at any time, it's okay. You can take a break, go down to child's pose. I'll show you that before we get going too much further. Alrighty, let's do it. So we're going to do a full body myofascial roll. We're going to do it pretty quick, not spend a whole lot of time with, getting onto some of these tender spots. So we're going to start with your legs, couple rolls on your calf. Okay. Make sure again that you are doing most of the pressure going up towards your heart and you are not rolling over some of your joints. The reason that we're going to do some of these rolls to begin with is to help start to loosen us up so we don't have a really long warm-up period. Just do a couple passes on each side. You can do this with one leg at a time or both legs at a time if you're using a bigger foam roller. All right, make sure we're going to go up to our glutes now, so you're going to sit, twist kind of sideways and just roll over your glutes. Be mindful of the things that are getting a little tender. I've not been great with stretching so far this week, so biking is making my butt cheeks sore. All right, we're gonna move over and do our thighs on the front side. Now, just because this is a warm-up doesn't give you an opportunity to be lazy with what you're doing. So make sure you're keeping your core tight. And we're almost done with just this quick myofascial warm-up. How are you guys doing? Okay, remember, like we were saying a couple weeks ago with our class, we're not going to roll over our low back. So you can put that roller on the mid-back. Do a couple passes there. If it's too much pressure on your spine, rotate one way and then rotate the other way. And then we're going to roll up, do our neck a little bit. Rotate your head to the right. How are you guys feeling so far? See, this isn't too hard. This is a real easy recovery workout, so it shouldn't be too difficult for you guys. We're going to have a little bit of a heart rate increase here next. If you're doing this another time, you can feel free to pause, do a little jog for 5 to 10 minutes, do a bike ride to expand the workout a little bit more. All right, so we're going to start working on getting your heart rate up a little bit. So favorite thing, 30 seconds of jumping jacks, okay? And we're going to start in 2, 1, and go. This is where you realize you need a new sports bra, right? All right, we're halfway there. Remember, light feet, you don't hear me thumping around. You want to make sure you're being really light. And 2, 1, go ahead and stop. Good job. Okay, next we're going to do a walkout. It might be a little hard for you to see. We're going to roll down, walk our hands away from our feet, and then walk our feet to our hands, and then reverse it. 30 seconds of that. Ready? Go. Make sure you're squeezing your muscles, and walk back. How's that going for you guys so far? Make sure you're breathing. Doing good. Got a couple. I see you, Darlene. Yeah, the camera is a little weird. I apologize for that. Okay, so you can stop those walkouts. And we're going to do a pretend jump rope. Super easy. Be as fancy as you want. It's a good time to wiggle around. 30 seconds, just pretend jump rope. Ready? Go. And it is okay. Breathe heavy, breathe through your mouth. This is not something you need to look pretty for. Okay. You can get super fancy. Alternate, you can try to do the double. This is really nice though, because you don't need to worry about hitting your shins with the rope. All right, and 3, 2, 1. Okay, so you guys are feeling heart rate coming up just a little bit. All right, so we're gonna go ahead, take a 30-second rest, and we're gonna repeat that 2 more times. Oh man, I'm out of breath today. This is what I get for eating right before I did this. Okay, so we're gonna start that again here in 10 seconds. Hopefully you're feeling good. This is the hardest part. We wanna make sure we're getting your heart rate up. That way your body can respond a little bit better to the exercises we're going to do. Okay, jumping jacks again. And 3, 2, 1, and go. If this is too much for you, if it's hurting your knees, that's fine. If it's hurting your knees, you don't have to do the jump. You can just do your arms. You can also do a step out on each side. You can make it a little bit more salsa-like. You can do fun little stuff there. We just want to make sure you're still moving, trying to get your heart rate up. Okay, and 3, 2, 1. Gonna go to the walkouts again. I'll try to move the camera down so you can see. Walk out. Squeeze everything tight. And then walk in. Reverse. Walk out. Walk your hands back in. Couple more of those. Squeeze real tight. And walk your feet in. Last one, walk out. Make sure you're staying nice and controlled. Walk your hands back. And you're good to go. Okay, jumping jacks. 3, 2, 1. Oh, not jumping jacks, jump rope, I'm sorry. I prefer to warm up on my bike. Okay. Yeah, if you have any issues with any of the exercises we're doing, let me know and we can do an alternate. Just drop in the chat. So if these are hard for you, that's okay. Again, like we were doing earlier with the jumping jacks, just keep those arms moving. You can do a crisscross. That'll help get your heart rate up a little bit more. And 2, 1, and 30 seconds of rest. Get your water. Good job so far. So hopefully your body's starting to feel a little bit more warm right now. Your breathing's going to be going up a little higher. That's what it's supposed to do. That means you're doing it right. So you have about 15 seconds. And we're just going to do this warm-up sequence One more time. So again, jumping jacks, walk out, and then we're gonna do our jump rope. I'll show you those alternatives one more time as we go through them. Okay, we're almost there. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Jumping jacks again, all the way this way. You can push yourself a little bit harder right now. Again, if you need it easier, just do your arms. If you have a shoulder issue, you could bring your arms a little bit ahead of you. You can move your legs out one at a time. And if you want it faster or harder, bring your arms closer in, and then do it really explosive and really fast. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Walk out. Gonna do that for 30 seconds. Squeeze. Walk your body towards your hands and reverse. These take a little longer, so we do less. Now, if you notice you're getting dizzy with this, make sure you're taking a little break. You can go down on the ground, or you can slowly roll up. That'll look like this. Make sure you're not lightheaded. And 3, 2, 1. And our last one is our pretend jump rope. Ready and go. Cross over. You can go faster. And maybe hurting the bottom of your feet. If you're not used to this, that's okay. You don't have to jump. You can wiggle back and forth while you're doing this. Work on some of your coordination. And 3, 2, 1, and rest. Okay, good job. So we're gonna take this 30 seconds of rest. We're going to move into a flexibility. So it's going to be really easy, really nice. We're just going to do some stretching. Shouldn't get your heart rate up. Make sure you're getting some water. I'm going to get this camera adjusted a little bit. Okay. So for each of these, we're going to hold the stretch for 30 seconds each side. Some of them, because it's whole body, we're only going to be holding the stretch for 30 seconds. You can do these between 30 to 45 seconds. You don't want to do anything much less than that. Otherwise, you're not going to get the physiological benefits. So the first one, we're only going to do all of these once. I call it the shoulder snake because you know I love my snakes. So you're going to get your left or right hand, doesn't matter, cross it underneath, interlock your fingers, and then you're going to lift your elbows up away from your body. Make sure your chin is tucked, and you should feel that stretching all in your shoulders, maybe a little back here. If your neck's tight, you may feel it in here. So again, it's just a wrap. Focus on your breathing. I'm going to hold this for 10 more seconds. That should feel really good, especially if you have tight shoulders. And then we're going to switch. So it feels a little weird. Other arm underneath, interlock, lift away from your body, tuck in your stomach, tuck in your chin. Imagine that you're holding like an orange underneath your chin. And when you feel your arm starting to drift, push back up, squeeze your core really tight. Focus on the breath. And 3, 2, 1, come back down. Shake it out a little bit. Next one we're going to do is a warrior pose. So you'll be standing up for this. And those of you who may not be familiar with yoga, Warrior pose is almost like a lunge. Your hands are going to be out, and then you're going to switch up and hold that stretch. If this is too difficult, you can stay here, go as far as you can. You can drop your hand down and try to come up as even as possible. Make sure you're getting all of this area in your side. And hold that for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Straighten out slowly. You're gonna just switch around to the other side. You feel super cool with it. Again, one palm up, one palm down, and stretch. You may find that one side is going to be more flexible than the other. That's completely normal. Try to look up, get a little bit of an extra stretch in your neck, and we're really wanting to stretch our sides. You might feel a little bit in your low back or in your legs, depending on your flexibility. In 3, 2, 1, and we're going to come back to our center. Hopefully that's feeling good for you guys. Next we're going to do is a downward facing dog stretch. With that, we're going to be stretching our shoulders and our calves. So downward facing dog. You're going to imagine your body's like a triangle, butt in the air. There should be a straight line coming from your shoulders to your hands. Spread your fingers apart, ears in line with your shoulder, feet shoulder width apart. Push back. Try to push your heels to the ground as much as possible. You should really be feeling that stretch either in your calves, the back of your legs, or in your shoulders and upper back. If you want, you can pedal, meaning raise one heel up and drop the other one and alternate there. We're going to keep holding that for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Next one, this one may be a little challenging depending on your flexibility. We're going to do a hip opener. So you're going to bring your foot up into a lunge position, drop your back leg, put the opposite hand and the opposite foot out in front of you, and then you're going to bring the foot that's in front of you, that same hand, you're going to bring it to the inside. And if you're not flexible, you can start here. You should be able to feel it all throughout your hips. This is how it's going to look. Let me move this down a bit so you can see better. Okay, so your knee's going to be on the outside. Now, if you want to make that a little bit more difficult, you can drop to your elbows. And if you're really flexible, you can drop down more on your forehead and you can roll on the outside of your foot. Again, that's going to look like rolling on the outside like that. And we're going to come up, switch the legs, and hold that. If you feel that tension, that's completely normal. Imagine your breath going through and trying to release some of that tension that you're feeling in your legs or your hips. And then we're going to do a little bit more difficult one coming up next called a pigeon pose. And that one may be difficult if you have sore knees or unstable knees. And 3, 2, 1, and you come back up. Now with the pigeon pose, it's going to be similar except you're going to cross your legs like you're going to sit Indian style in front of you. Have one leg all the way back, and then you're going to lean over that front knee. If that's too difficult, you can always put a block or a towel or padding under your back leg. You can sit up high. You can lean down low. How that looks on the side. Leg out in front. You may be able to move your leg out depending on how flexible you are, more 90 degrees or less. 3, 2, 1, and then slowly come up, roll over to your hip, bring the other leg in front of you, Same thing. And stretch. If you're doing this right, you're probably not going to feel anything in your knee, but you should feel a really deep stretch on the side of your thigh. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so the stretching is over. So now we're going to get into our movement prep. Let me get a sip of water real quick. Okay, on movement prep, this is a really important part because we don't want to go right into moving our big muscles. We just got our heart rate up a little bit, so now we want to work a little bit more specifically into some of those muscles we're going to be dealing with. I'm going to give you a big array. You can play around with this as much as you want. So the first one we're going to do is 30 seconds each, a knee hug. You are going to be challenged with your balance on this. It's totally normal. If you fall, that's fine. Try to stay as controlled as possible. So your knee stretch. Super easy. Stand right upright. Bring your knee in front of you. Put your hands around your knees and then pull your knee into your body. Try to not drop your toes. Try to pull your toes up towards your shin. Make sure your shoulders are back and down. Squeeze your butt, squeeze your thighs. Wiggling around is just fine. And we're going to switch. This is my bad knee side, so you're going to see me wiggling, and that's fine. This exercise is going to help not only get a little bit more stretching, but it's going to help you with some of that balance and some of that stability for your knees, your hips, and your ankles. And 3, 2, 1. Go ahead, come down gently. Next we're going to do, this one's going to be a little bit more difficult, possibly the airplane. So definitely going to be challenging if you have some poor balance, if you have problems with the last one, that's okay. All it is, we're going to imagine that our body is in a straight line. You can put your hands out to your side, in front if you want to make it a little harder, or way behind you if you want to make it easier, and you're just going to go up and look like an airplane. Remember to pull your shoulders back. Don't arch your back. Don't round your back. Squeeze. Again, on your feet, you're going to want to make sure that you are pulling your toes towards your shadows. 3, 2, 1. Switch legs. Come up slowly. And you're going to go down again. Try to keep your body as much in line as possible. Again, keeping your chin tucked like you're holding an orange underneath it. Squeeze your stomach, don't pooch it out. Again, watch your back. If you're having difficulties, it's okay to touch down, it's okay to wiggle. Try to come back up as controlled as possible. If you're just here before you lose that form, that's completely okay. And 3, 2, 1. And that one is done. Next, we're going to do a quadricep stretch. And that's going to be the exact opposite of our knee hug. Standing on one leg. Reach back. Grab your foot. Keep your knees together as much as possible. And you're going to just stretch the front of your leg. Again, core tight. Good posture. 3, 2, 1. And same this other leg. See how I'm not canting out? I'm not sticking my leg out. I want to stay nice and straight like a board. 3, 2, 1. I saw Darlene ask, is it okay to hold on to something? Absolutely. If you need to grab something for support, have a chair around you for anything like this, that is absolutely fine. We're just trying to get your body in motion. It's more about doing this in a safe way than you not doing anything at all. Okay, so now we're going to go down to a bird dog. I Love these for as simple as they are. I really love them. So you're gonna go down, hands and knees. Your wrists are gonna be underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips, everything about shoulder width apart. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna lift the opposite arm and the opposite leg up. So maybe you can see a little better like that. The camera I had did not work, so I apologize. And you're gonna hold on to this, be as stable as you can. Again, try to not wiggle back and forth. If you feel like you're wiggling a lot, you can squeeze your muscles as tight as you can, and that will give you some more stability. If you're having trouble, it's okay to put your toes down on the ground. It's okay to not come up all the way. 3, 2, 1, switch. And then we're gonna repeat on the opposite side. Now, if you really want to try to challenge yourself, you can try to lift the same side arm and legs. I did this the other day for the first time ever, and I was proud, so I'm probably not going to be able to do it again. But it'll just look like this. You're going to be tempted, though, to cant your whole body. Try not to do that. Try to stay as stable as possible. All right, 3, 2, 1. Now we're going to go to cat-cow. This one is not balanced. This is going to help with some of your low back and spine stretching. That same position, hands shoulder width apart, knees shoulder width apart. We call this tabletop. Make sure you're keeping your back as straight as possible. And then you're going to cat and cow. Sway your back and cat and cow. If you want a little bit more of a stretch with this, really tuck your head on that cat and really pull your chin up with the cow. One more. See, those weren't too bad. And now we're going to go to our final 2 of our movement preps. Next is going to be Cobra. So you're going to go from this position on the ground. You're going to bring your hips to the ground. You can drop down completely. Put your hands next to your chest like you're going to do a push-up, but you're not going to do a push-up. You're going to keep your hips on the ground. Lock your elbows out. You're going to bring your chin up to the sky, and you should feel a really nice stretch from your throat all the way down to your stomach and in your low back. I'm going to hold that for 30 seconds. Again, that looks like this. 3, 2, 1. And the last one, we're going to roll over onto our back and do the dead bug. It's the same thing as the bird dog, except we are on our back. So we're just going to do 30 seconds of this. So you're going to bring your knees up, bent 90 degrees, and just switch your arms, your legs. You can alternate. You could go fast. This is like a bicycle exercise, but a little bit easier. And 3, 2, 1, and you can relax. Go ahead and get a sip of water. We're going to give you 60 seconds to rest, and we're going to move into our first stability circuit. Now this next circuit is going to take about 12 minutes. With that, we have 3 exercises that we're going to do. We're going to do a body squat, and I'm going to show you some ways to make that a little easier and a little bit more difficult. And then we're going to do a glute bridge, also show you some ways to make that easy and more difficult. And then we're going to go into a 30-second plank, take a 60-second rest, and we're going to repeat that. So those 3 exercises repeated for 3 times. So you still have a little bit of time. It's important to take breaks between these sets. That allows your muscles to get all the fuel back that they need. Gives you that short recovery period so you're not shaking and completely burned out when you're doing this next phase. So while you guys are finishing up your rest period, I'm gonna get this set up here. Some things that you can use on this next phase. You can use a Bosu ball, and you can use a stability disc, and you can use one of the half foam rollers. I will show you how we can do that. So each of these, we're gonna do 12 repetitions for the body squats, 12 repetitions for our glute bridges. And we're gonna go from standing, laying on our back, rolling over on our stomach, and doing the planks. So you guys ready? Get it in your head. I know you're ready. You're gonna do great. Again, if it's too difficult, we can make it easier. And if it's too easy, I could definitely make it harder. So body squats, I wanna go through the form with you on what a squat looks like. This first round's gonna go a little slow, and then we're gonna pick up the pace. When you're doing a squat, you want your legs to be no closer to shoulder width, so that athletic hip width apart, toes facing forward. At any time, you do not want your knees to cross over your toes. Imagine that you are sitting back. When you're doing this, I like to put my hands in front of me. If you need to grab onto something, you can put a chair in front of you to help with this. It's really important to imagine sticking your booty out, and that's going to help you keep a good form and not hurt your knees. You want to try to keep your toes pointed straight forward. If you're really tight, you can tweak them out just a little bit. Just don't look like you're, Yosemite Sam or anything like that. All right, we're going to do 12 of these. Really easy squats. You can put a chair behind you if you need that kind of help. 1, 2, 3. You want to be slow and controlled the entire time here. If this is too easy for you, keep doing it if it's good for you right now. If it's too easy and you have this ball, you can get the ball, you can stand on the ball, get stable, and do the squats on there. If you're really crazy, you can turn the ball over. It's a little tricky to get on. I like to hold on to something. I don't have anything to hold on to right now, and I'm not gonna dislocate my knee for you. But you can also stand with it upside down. Again, that's a really advanced progression for that. So you guys should have 12 squats right now. We're going to move to our glute progressions. So go on your back. And we're gonna do a glute bridge. Easy as it sounds, you're gonna keep your feet shoulder width apart, knees bent, hands at your side, palms down on the ground, and all you're gonna do is push your hips up, squeeze your stomach, and back down. Again, this is slow and controlled. If this is too easy for you, I'm gonna scoot back and show you some progressions. You can lift a leg up off the ground. You can lift it completely off the ground. You can get one of the big full exercise balls, put your feet on it, and do the glute bridge. You can also get the half ball I was telling you about. You can do the glute bridges on that as well. So you should have about 12 right now. We're gonna go on to our next one, which is the 30-second plank. This one can be a little bit difficult, especially if it's new for you. So there's a few different progressions. I personally find it's a little bit easier. Get into a push-up position, and you're going to bring your legs behind you, squeeze all your muscles, and hold that there. Focus on your breathing. We want to think our butt as apples, not applesauce. Our back is straight as a surfboard. Squeeze your stomach in and hold that concentrating on your breath for 30 seconds. You can do this on your elbows. If that's too difficult, you can drop your knees. If it's too easy, you can bring this guy back. Put him upside down, hands at the side, do your plank like that. Really is good for some extra shoulder stability. You can also bring in that half foam roller, do a plank on that. Or you can get one of the stability discs, put it behind yourself with your toes, and then do your plank from there. So that's going to be 30 seconds. Go ahead and take a rest. You earned it. So you have 60 seconds, take a break, get some water, and if you need anything, let me know in the comments, and we can do any kind of progressions. Let me know how you're doing. I apologize that my camera is not working. I'm having to do this from my phone. Had a little troubleshooting issue earlier. We have about 30 more seconds. Now in these next two, it's totally fine. Go ahead and do whatever progression is easiest for you. If you find anything is difficult, especially the planks, you can go back to that child's pose. You just bring your hips back, put your head on the ground, and focus on your breathing. Feeling the burn, I like it. Okay, you guys ready? We're gonna get going back on these squats. So 12 body squats, 12 glute bridges, whatever progression you want. And then we're gonna do that 30-second plank, and we're gonna scooch back and take another rest and do it one more time. So ready? Body squats. And go. Again, make sure you take a quick peek down. As you're going down, are your knees going over your big toe? We do not want your knees to go over your big toe. That can hurt your knees. You can make sure you're poking your booty back. Keep your head tucked. Keep your core really tight. And 12. Gonna go down to our glute bridge. Whatever progression you want, hands by your side, and make sure you're really squeezing your glutes on the way up. You can push with your hands down into the ground. Keep your core tight. Exhale on the way up. Inhale on the way down. And 12. Now we're going to go to the plank. Roll over on your stomach. Again, you can start either on your elbows, on your hands, up. Make sure your toes are curled in towards your body, that you are not rounding your back, that you're not swaying your back. Back's flat like a surfboard. Squeeze your stomach tight. Apple's not applesauce. Tuck your chin like you're holding an orange underneath your chin. And you're almost there. Spread your fingers out wide. Imagine that you're ripping the floor in half underneath your body. And 3, 2, 1. And now we have a 60-second break again. How's that feeling so far? Hopefully it's not too much. This workout isn't designed to be a lot. This is something, if you're working, you have 15 minutes, after your lunch break or before your lunch break, you can do a couple of these movements just to get you a little bit extra movement, burn a few extra calories throughout your day. We have one more round of this. 20 seconds left before we get started. All right, I'm excited to do this last round so we can go to the other stuff. Okay, you ready? It's time for the squats again. It's great, but I'm geriatric. Oh, Lord. You're fine. You're not old. I have to tell you that all the time. Okay, back to the squats. Ready? 12 squats. Go. 1, 2. Again, remember, keep your head up, stick your butt out, squeeze your core really tight, push your butt back, chin tucked, and last one. All right, we're gonna go on the ground on our back. You got it. Glute bridge, 12 of those. Ready, go. Make sure you're squeezing your butt. Your feet are about shoulder to hip width apart. Really push into the ground with your heels. Push into the ground with your hands. Another progression you can do as you get more comfortable with this, you can put a weight on your hips. That will really help with some of your hip strength. Last one. And we're gonna roll over. Time for planks, 30 seconds. Ready, and go. Tuck your toes in, back flat like a surfboard. Squeeze your butt, apples, not applesauce. Pull your shoulders back, tuck your chin, spread those fingers, pull the floor out. Trying to rip it in half underneath you. Squeeze your core. Focus on your breathing. It might be getting hard. You might shake. That means you're doing it right. And 3, 2, 1. And we have another 60 seconds. Okay, so stability circuit 1. Done. This means we're more than halfway through our workout. We're going to go to another about 12-minute workout from here. I'm going to get some water. You should get some too. And these, if you have any kind of pre-existing injuries, they should not be agitating them. If they are, let me know and I'll give you, again, another progression, a way that we can work around that. For the next one, you're going to have a little bit shorter breaks between. Again, it's going to be 3 workouts. We're going to do a sumo walk. I'm going to show you what that looks like and how to make that a little bit harder or a little bit easier. We're going to do a chaturanga sequence, and that is a yoga term for those of you who don't do yoga. So it's a mixture between a push-up and a plank to a cobra. And then we are going to do a side plank or a side warrior pose. We're going to do 12 each of the sumo walk and the chaturangas, and we're going to do 30 seconds with our side plank or our side warrior, a 30-second rest in between. So you ready? This one's going to push you a little bit more. Your fun one is going to be these sumo walks. So let's get started. Sumo walk. It's as easy as it sounds. You're going to act like a sumo wrestler. Your feet are going to be just a little bit more than shoulder width apart and hip width apart. Keeping your toes facing forward, you're going to put a slight bend in your knees. And then how a sumo wrestler would go, you're just going to walk. You're not bringing your feet all the way together. We're going to do 12 on each side. I normally will just do them all in a row and not switch sides. This is going to be really good for lateral hip strength and stability. If that's easy, you can get a band. Put the band around the outside of your legs. You can put it down by your ankles and do the walk. And make sure you're controlling You can bring them up by your knees and do the walk. You can hold a weight. You can put a weight vest on. And that's the sumo walk. We've probably done about 12 of those, so let me get out of this band here. And we're gonna do the chaturanga sequence. It's gonna be moving some of those same muscles we did with our walkouts and the planks. So we're gonna go down on the ground, downward facing dog style first. You're gonna scoop your body up, doing a cobra in the air. And then push back, driving your heels to the back of the space. And then you're gonna scoop yourself up. Now this may be a little bit difficult. If it is, that's fine. You can rest on the ground and hold that cobra pose. Tuck your toes in and then lift back. And if it's hard to go forward, you can drop down onto your hands and elbows, drop on the ground controlled, and scoop up. So let's try that one more time. Scoop. Okay. Now we're going to go to a side plank. Those may be a little difficult if plank is a new motion for you. What it looks like, you're going to lay on your side, put your elbow underneath your shoulder, rotate your hand so your palm is touching the ground, stack your feet on top of each other, and again, straight like a surfboard, squeezing your core. You're going to lift your hips up, squeeze your shoulders back. Now that may be difficult, especially if you have a shoulder injury. If that's the case, bring one leg in front of you and then lift up. If that's still too difficult, that's fine for these. You can go back to the side warrior pose like we were doing earlier. You're just not going to go all the way up. You're going to stay on the ground, back knee on the ground, and rotate up. Okay, so now we get to switch and do that on the other side. Ready? 30 seconds. 3, 2, 1, go. And the same principles apply here like they do for your other plank. Shoulders back, hips off the ground, butt is apples, not applesauce. Bring your chin down like you're holding an orange underneath it. Control your breathing. Good job. Almost there. Make sure you're pushing your hips up to the sky. 3, 2, 1. You earned your 30 seconds. So take 30 seconds to get some water. Make a note of which one of those felt best for you as far as the progressions go. And then we're going to move through a little bit quicker on the next 2 rounds. Has anybody felt anything right now that they can't do that they need a modification for? We have 15 seconds. I think I gave you a little extra time, but that's okay. So again, we're going to do 12 sumo walks each way. 12 to the right, 12 to the left. And then we're going to do 12 of the chaturanga sequence. You can do any kind of progression there that's going to work. And then we're going to do either the side plank or the side warrior pose. I will show you how to make that side plank a little bit more difficult this time if that's you. The cobra is a little hard. Okay. Is that the shoulder that's bothering you or the back? Okay, while she's typing that response, we're going to get started on the sumo walk. So standing up, hands on your hips, core tight, and you're going to keep a slight bend, and let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Go to the other side, or if you've been alternating, we're just going to do 12 more. Again, remember making sure you're keeping your shoulders back and down. It should look like this. Keep your stomach tight. You guys are doing great. Okay, so that should be about 12 there. We're going to go to the chaturanga. With the cobra hurting your elbows, what we're going to, if it's hurting you when we're on the ground, then we're going to try to put like a pad or something, a pillow, a blanket. That might help. If it's just the extending of the elbows, then just go on your shoulder. Okay, chaturanga sequence. We're going to go downward facing dog and scoop up. 1. Again, if that's hurting your elbows being like this, drop down onto your elbows. If that's still hurting, then just tuck your knees in and do child's pose. Okay, extended, yeah, dropping on your elbows should help that then. So again, it's all about slow and controlled here. Scoop up. And just because you're stretching here doesn't mean you can't keep your core tight. Give that extra conscious squeeze. Controlled back to downward facing dog. You guys should just be about 12. Now we're going to go to side plank. Again, if that is too much, cross one foot, the top leg, in front of you, and then lift up. If you're on hardwood like me, and that's hurting your elbow, put a little blanket underneath. Now, if this is too easy, stability discs makes it really hard. You can put this underneath your bottom hand. You can put this underneath your feet. That's 30 seconds. Switch sides and go. You can also make it more difficult. Bring that half roller in. You can do your push-ups on that as well, and then lift up bottom hand there. Or if you want to really challenge yourself, you can do any of those, even just be on the floor. Go up in your side plank and then roll up and hold yourself. Turn your head, look at the hand in the sky, and count your breath. That's 30 seconds. You can come down and rest. And you have 30 seconds, get some water, make sure everything's good. I'm going to check the comments here. Go away messages. How are you feeling? Everyone feeling okay? We have one more sequence there. This time I want you to focus as much as you can on your breath while you're doing this. Make sure you're giving that extra squeeze, and that's going to get you a little bit extra workout here. So sumo walk. Back up. 3, 2, 1, go. We're going to do 12 on each side, or 24 total. Well, I'm glad you're sweating. It's kind of the point of working out is to get a little bit of a sweat. But this one, again, is just a recovery one, so you should not be feeling too fatigued. It's just a real easy workout. You can take what you like, leave what you don't, and help you work out on those days that you get a little too busy. Don't forget, you can always put a band there. You can even squat a little bit lower and do this. You can pick up the speed, then you start looking like a crab. Okay. Now you know what's next. Chaturanga sequence. Downward facing dog. And scoop. I forgot what we were doing for a second. Control. Back to downward facing dog. Really push back. Drive through those shoulders. Now you're seeing why we did this pre-work earlier. And scoop. Again, you can go down on your elbows for this. You can go to a child's pose if it hurts your elbows when you're extending back. And then just do a modification there. And if you are kind of in between, we can almost do a little bit of like a plank where you bring yourself up just barely off of the ground. Okay, side plank time. 30 seconds each side. Ready? And go. Make sure that you're really pushing up towards the sky with your hips, squeezing your glutes. Apples, not applesauce. Tuck that chin, squeeze your trunk, pull your shoulders back. Almost there. I'm going to challenge you right now. Try to bring that top hand up as much as possible if you can. Look at it. 3, 2, 1. And switch sides. And side plank, other side. Starts getting a little tired on a third one. Stretch up with that top hand if you want. Again, you can also do a challenge where you're coming up completely. I'm not good enough at that on my bad shoulder, but you get the point. All right, 3, 2, 1, 30 seconds to rest. Good job. So, almost there. Next round, we have an ab sequence. This is going to be varying on your challenge level depending on your fitness. I'm gonna bring this down a little bit. This is another good opportunity for a stability disc if you have it, or for the Bosu ball, the half dome ball, or the half foam roller. So what we're going to do here is going to be about 6 minutes total for this set. We're going to do a seated tuck. It is okay to put your hands on the ground. It's okay if you need to rest your feet on the ground and you can't complete the entire 30 seconds. It's okay if you're wiggling around a bit. If it's hurting your tailbone at all, then try to rotate up forward a little bit more. So we're going to do a seated tuck. That's going to be for 30 seconds. We're going to then do seated swimmers and the like butterfly kicks, and those again you can feel free to touch the ground. I know I'm going to be. And then we're going to stand up and do a windmill, 30 seconds on the left, 30 seconds on the right, and a 30-second rest. So ready? We're going to do a seated tuck. I like to, if you have a pillow, I prefer to sit on a pillow just because it does hurt my tailbone a little bit. Or you could do on these stability discs, or you could just do it on the ground. So seated tuck. Gonna come up in a V. It's okay to keep your hands on the ground. A progression is to bring your hands up, and all you're gonna do is lift your feet off of the ground, point your toes, and tuck and extend. Tuck and extend. You should really feel this in your low abs. So extend. Oop, did not get balance. Tuck and extend. Tuck and extend. If you need a rest, it's okay. Put your feet on the ground. Take a break. Lift them back up. Do the best you can here. 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and rest. And we're gonna do swimmers next. It's gonna be very similar. You're gonna keep your feet in front of you, and you're just going to kick your feet up like you were swimming. We're gonna do that for 30 seconds. Again, if this is too easy for you, you can bring your hands up. You can sit on a disc. You can lay on the ground and do this if it's a little too hard. I think the ground's a little more difficult than seated. But ready, and kick. Core tight. Point your toes. Tuck your chin. Squeeze your stomach. And focus on your breathing. Get a nice pace, nice rhythm going. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, come back down. We're gonna stand up. You may get a little lightheaded, so slowly roll. Bring this up a bit so you can see. So you may have heard this called starfish or a windmill. I like to call it a windmill. You're gonna keep your feet shoulder, a little bit more than shoulder width apart, toes facing forward, hands out at your side like you're a starfish or a windmill. And then you're just gonna rotate side to side. You can progress this by holding onto a weight and really driving through in your obliques. This is where you should be feeling it, on the side of your stomach. I don't know what I'm doing, I got backwards there. Focus on your breath. Core should be tight. This is how it looks from the side. $12 on each side. We're almost there. Look up at your top hand every time. One more. And 30 seconds. Go ahead, take 30 seconds, get a little bit of water, and then we are going to go ahead and repeat that 2 more times. Gives you a little bit workout on your abs, but nothing too crazy. How's that going for everybody? Anyone need anything different? Okay, we have about 10 seconds before we start again. Again, it's going to be 30 seconds of our seated tuck, 30 seconds of our swimmer kicks, and then 12 on each side with our windmills. So go ahead, get ready, seated tuck. You can, again, keep your hands off the ground, put your hands on the ground, whatever is most comfortable for you. And 3, 2, 1, point your toes, extend, bring your knees to your chest. Point your toes, extend, knees to your chest. Make sure you're trying to keep your back really tight this whole time. Squeeze your stomach. Focus on your breathing. Exhale when you tuck, inhale when you extend. Keep going. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead, relax. We're going to do our swim kicks next. Same position, legs out, lift your feet up, point your toes, and kick. Keep your toes pointed, keep your core tight, chin tucked. You should be feeling this in your low back, maybe in your mid back, and in your abs some. Make sure you're breathing the whole time. It's okay. Take a break. Almost there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gonna slowly come up to standing. Do our windmills. Look like a starfish. And 12 on each side. Another thing you can do, I completely forgot what I was gonna say. I think I already told you, you can hold a kettlebell and come up. If you're doing it with a kettlebell, I like to keep it like this and hold my weight. If you want, you can do 2 dumbbells and then stack your shoulders on top of each other. But be real careful that you're not doing too much weight on this, as it's really easy to overextend your shoulders. Almost there. And one more. Take your 30 seconds. We're gonna do that sequence one more time. Feeling it in your thighs. Yeah, so you might feel some of those kicks and tucks in your thighs a little bit more, especially if you're more tight, if you do a lot of sitting. So doing those cobra stretches can definitely help out. And you know, if it's hurting you with the thighs, then we may want to look at those pigeon poses as well that we did at the very beginning, and that might help to keep things a little bit more loose. You may also be arching your back, so we're gonna focus again on squeezing our stomach in so you don't feel it as much in your thighs. But you're gonna feel it in your thighs, especially if they're heavy like mine. That's a lot of weight to hold up if you're me. Okay, 5 seconds. We're gonna go back to the tuck. And 3, 2, 1. Bring in. Point your toes out. Something else, if you're feeling it in your thighs, try to lean back a little bit more, or you can try to do this laying down, bringing it in and bringing them out. If you're doing it where you're laying down, the issue you may have is the closer to the ground you go, the harder it's going to be. So you may have to come up and extend and go up. And that might help. You're still going to feel it a little bit in your thighs, but that should be able to help. Just make sure you aren't arching your back. In 3, 2, 1, swim kicks. Again, you can do this one laying on your back. You can put your hands underneath your tailbone to support if you'd like. With these though, the closer you are to the ground and the bigger you're doing your kicks, the harder they're going to be. You can do little ones up here. You can do little ones towards the ground. The more 90 degrees you are, the easier it's going to be. Have 10 seconds left of those. Squeeze your core. 3, 2, 1. And almost there. It's the windmills. Stand up slowly. Roll up if you have to. Keep from getting too dizzy. And go. You can start doing these a little bit more explosively with some power. That can add a little bit of an extra challenge. Make sure you aren't holding your breath the whole time. It's easy for me to remember to breathe when I'm talking while doing it, so totally talk to yourself if that's what you need to do. I do it all the time, and I'm only a little crazy. Almost there. One more on each side. And we are done with those. So now we're gonna start moving into our cool down phase. So that's gonna take us about 4 minutes through our cool down phase. Again, if you have one of your foam rollers, after the cool down, I suggest anything that felt tight, anything that felt a little painful or tender, spend a little bit extra time rolling on that. It is super important that you do not forget to do any of your recoveries and any of your stretching. That's going to help your body heal. It's going to help you prevent any kind of injuries. This again is a very, very basic foundational workout. It's intended not to get you toned, not to get you fast or powerful, but to help get you stable. And once you're stable, we can start working on some other exercises, more complex movements. But you really want to make sure you're taking care of your body at all phases, but especially at this phase. So the cool down, we're going to do a few stretches. So shouldn't be getting your heart rate up, anything right here. We're going to hold each stretch for 30 seconds. Again, you can do these no less than 30 seconds, up to a minute, maybe 90 seconds each. First one, we're going to do a hanging shoulder stretch. I love this one so much because I have an impaired shoulder. It feels great and it doesn't put too much strain on it. So you're going to be standing for this, feet shoulder width apart. You're going to drop down, grab each of your elbows with your hands, and you just hang. It doesn't seem like much, but just hang there. You can rock a little back and forth. And you should feel some stretching deep in your shoulders with that. I'm going to do that for about 10 more seconds. Focus on your breathing. And then we're going to go back to our downward facing dog with a cobra. If you needed one of those modifications earlier, you can do that. Here, this time though, we are just focusing on the stretch. So go from hanging, drop your hands to the ground, step your feet back behind you, point your butt towards the sky, push your heels towards the ground, push your head between your shoulders, and just sit back in that and breathe. We'll hold this position for 30 seconds, and then we're going to go to the cobra for 30 seconds. You have 10 seconds left here. Really focus on what might be sore. If you need to bend your knees a little bit, that's fine. Try to keep them as straight as you can. Keep your heels as far on the ground as you can. 3, 2, 1. Controlled. Drop your hips to the ground. Extended elbows. Push up to the sky. And stretch. And you can drop down on your elbows and do this stretch. You might not get as much in your stomach and your throat and your chest, but you'll still get some from it. You can also bend your arms a little bit so your elbows aren't completely extended. Have another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, now we're going to go to child's pose. So holding that position that you were just in, you're going to sit back on your feet, bring your arms in front of you, head to the ground, and breathe. I'm going to hold this for 30 seconds. You should be feeling this in your thighs and in your shoulders, maybe some in the back of your neck. Your hands can be pointed, stacked one on top of each other for this, or they can be spread wide. I find it's easier if I'm keeping my toes together, so I'm not putting too much pressure on my knees. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, come up from that one, and we are going to go onto our stomach, and we're going to do a hip rotational stretch. You can work this in as an actual exercise later, where you're bringing your hips up at 90 degrees and crossing over. We're just going to do it as a stretch right now. So there's a few ways we can do this. One, you can keep the side that you're leaning to, that leg straight, cross the other leg over, and you're just gonna stretch there. Let me move, see if this helps any. And just stretch over. You can rest your head and your neck on the arm that's on the ground. You can give yourself a little extra push. You can stack your legs up. You can keep your legs straight. Really, the world is your oyster on this one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we're going to switch sides. Sometimes I like to push a little bit and I can get a back pop. Just sit here and relax in this. We have one more stretch after this. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then come back to the middle. We're just going to sit in a relaxed state for 1 minute. Just relax your arms to your side. Let your feet and your legs relax. Close your eyes and breathe. Take a moment to note how your body's feeling. Is there anything you need to spend extra time stretching? Is there anything that's sore that you didn't think would be sore? How is your breath feeling? How is your mood? Let that warm breath fill your body. You can stay here as long as you would like. That is going to be our workout for today. So thank you for joining me again. If you have a foam roller, take a moment and go through, stretch anything that may have been tight or uncomfortable. And I hope that this helped you out in some way. If you need a progression of any type, if you need something easier, let me know. Again, you can cut something like this down to 10-15 minutes, and you can squeeze in a couple rounds of this throughout the day if you're really busy and you're having a hard time finding the space to work out. You don't need any equipment. You can use equipment, and we can build on this. Well, I'm glad that you feel fantastic. Thanks so much for joining. Enjoy the rest of your Friday night. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next time.